In fact, Harry and I were talking before he died about going on a nudist cruise. I don't even know if they have them.
You just invented something.
You're going to invent one.
Create one. Give me a phone.
You were on the verge of starting the first nudist cruise.
Yes.
Oh, man.
All right. We actually tried to record this the first time, but our technology got all weird on us. But we have a guest with us, and it's our Grandma Gwen. Everybody here. She's here. Miss Gwenlyn Norton. Yes. Welcome her to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome to the club.
Namaste.
Yes.
For context, it is mine and Cody's grandmother. Joel and Luke's grandmother is not here. I don't know where your guys' grandmother's on your guys' side, but assuming she's somewhere.
Not on this earth.
No, okay. So the
20
only
years ago.
So I guess
20
technically
years.
you're our only grandparent between all of us here.
Yes.
That's pretty crazy.
Yes, isn't that?
Yeah, and you did give us permission to say your age because it's going to be
Oh,
the topic
of
of
course.
conversation. So you just turned 80
Yes.
about a month or two ago.
Yes.
And how does it feel?
It feels. I have mixed feelings. It feels wonderful to have survived this long.
Oh, really? Just this long though?
On the other hand, that's an awfully large number.
Compared to what?
Compared to what?
Compared to 50 or 30.
It could have been a lot worse, but do you... I've never had anybody request a guest more than you. Or no, sorry. I said that totally wrong.
Run that by me again?
She's
Let me
been
rephrase-
requesting herself as a guest.
Can you have
real
more
quick.
guests on the show?
Let me start over here, people. Okay.
Just pull the breaker, Cody.
We've never had an aged person on this show.
We've never had an Asian person on this show.
Aged.
That's right.
An agent. We
We
had
are
a secret
racist.
agent on the show. No, we haven't had a person be more requested to be on the show than you, just because you have this infectious personality that is very unique in nature. I always say you're one of a kind. I can't describe anybody else that's like you. And for being 80 years old, that's usually the age that I would probably describe someone as being a little bit on the...
Disabled.
Well, no, it's trying to find a polite word of saying it. It's you're more on the you're slowing down. Like they're a little on the I wouldn't say slow, but it seems like that's an insult. But they're not as active as they probably were when they were 20, 30 years old or something like that. But
Well, I've always been lazy.
I don't know. You put us all to shame in this regard because
No.
it seems as if you have a more active lifestyle than all of us combined. You were telling me your schedule the other day that you had 2 parties to go to in a weekend, and
That's right.
You're working on 40 different art projects at once,
That's
and
right.
you have different yoga classes you're going to, and all in different cities as well. So it's not you just go down the street and do this. It's like you're
No, it's
you're traveling all over the place. So
Well, like July 4th, I went to yoga, an advanced yoga class in the morning, and I'm still sore. That was unbelievable. Usually I go to yoga for seniors, which is a little less stressful. Mm-hmm. But this one, I mean, there were women in there standing on their heads, freeform,
Oh my gosh.
freeform, on their elbows. Oh my gosh, I can't do that. But every muscle in my body ached. It still does from that July 4th yoga class.
So
Then I went to the street fair. Mm-hmm. Got my handbag with the holster in it.
Yeah, there's literally a holster in her handbag. She showed us. She doesn't have
no
a gun in
weapon.
there, but
Yeah. Oh, I like the color.
Did you know there was a holster in it before
Yes,
you
he
bought it?
showed me.
Okay.
he said, "Sold, sir. I'm gonna
Sold.
buy it. But I'll be back in later."
Then I,
That was your only request, your only requirement.
that's right.
for
I wanted a
handbag.
holster.
Yeah. I want a holster. He's like, I have a handbag with a holster in it. All right, fine.
That's fine. It goes along with the price. I'll take it. And then I went to a party then.
Who's like? I have a
Who
hard
at
time
my
finding people
age
that
throws a party?
Yeah, I know. Like
They're
it just seems so
getting
bizarre to
fewer
me.
and fewer, let me tell you.
Well, it's like even we're all in our 30s now, so I'm starting to it's not every day that we get invited to a party. When we were in our early 20s, it was every weekend was a party. But now, I can imagine if it got this minimal in our 30s for parties, when we're 80, there's gonna be virtually no parties. But every time I talk to you, you go, "I have a party to go to this weekend." Where are you getting invited to all these parties?
Well, I have dear friends, and a lot of them live alone, like me, and we need to get together. We need to share life with each other, have laughs. That's my philosophy these days, is just play. If I can't play, I don't want to do it. So these are women that I've known for years and years.
Nice.
In fact, I'm taking a group to the winery.
Already drunk.
My treat.
Well, which winery?
Ventura Spirits. It's a brand new winery out near the oil fields where PepsiCo is.
Yeah, I know exactly where that is. I'll have to go.
So you guys just get together all the time and go do
Different things. I mean, like for my birthday, they took me to a pizza parlor and for beer and pizza and.
Oh man, that sounds fantastic.
Again, you have a more active lifestyle than us, and I think this is just what I'm so curious about is, like we do a lot of stuff. Don't get me wrong, we're not like lazy bums here, but you kind of put us to shame, and especially for a lot of people that we know that are in their 70s, let alone their 80s. They're not living this kind of lifestyle. They're usually just cooked up in their house somewhere saying, I'm not going to go out today type of thing. But it sounds like you are constantly going and doing. And I'm trying to figure out, do you think that's your personality? Or is there like a philosophy you to subscribe to? Or do you taking like drugs? What
Is it organic
Piles
food?
and piles of cookies.
I do eat organic food. There's a number of reasons, actually. I'm really an introvert.
I don't know.
I know my friends
I don't know.
doubt that. They don't believe it. I don't like, it's not my choice to be around people because I can't stand small talk. And that's because of being an ultra-sensitive personality. That I don't want to be drawn into that small talk. It drives me crazy.
What's the worst small talk? Like weather?
Oh my gosh, yes, I do. And I asked Joel that too, you know.
I know, I almost died.
Well, because I'm good at small talk and I don't enjoy it actually, but I do want to know that I'm rapporting with you. I do want you to know.
Got to go through the steps, right?
That's right. That's right. I haven't seen Joel, for years in person. So I wanted him to know that I care
About the weather in Seattle.
about the weather.
Not him.
I didn't want to get into his job yet.
How's your job going?
The funny thing is, you still aren't seeing me because this is pre-recorded. I'm actually not here. I filmed this a week ago.
Oh, this is good magic. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Joel can really anticipate the conversation. He's very good at it.
I dare you to accomplish that next time.
Superimpose a six-pack.
I'll give you that homework.
Pre-record your
So I have an ultra-sensitive personality, and I don't like small talk, and I love being alone. There's power in being alone. You can do what you want, when you want, where you want, how you want.
yeah.
I had a very restrictive childhood, and I don't want to be cornered.
You want to be like encompassed, like this is the only thing you can do. You want to be able to have no rules.
No, that's why I don't like, that's why I have claustrophobia. And jumped out of the elevator at the...
Oh, yeah.
That's a classic story. We were all in Washington, D.C. This is 1999, and we were all visiting there because you were living in Washington, D.C. at the time. And we all got in this elevator. It was at the hotel we were staying, and it was starting to get to you as we were getting into it, like how tight the whole thing was, and then you panicked, and you like jumped out as the doors were like closing. And it was like this violent like movement of...
This was to that tower, the Jefferson Tower.
Yeah.
You were heading up to the 64th floor, and you were in the elevator for 55 seconds. And I stood there with 15, 20 people behind me.
just breathing.
Bare walls. And the doors were about to close. And I said, no way. Cody gave me this weird look.
That was a minute ago.
You lost your mind.
The doors literally smashed you.
I know, it was so violent. It
It was like your body was...
I'm waiting downstairs, and you go to your...
It was like a hydraulic press. Usually they know the limit, so they open back up, but they just kept going.
Yes, we're about to watch our grandma get crushed
Just
before us.
screaming.
I don't know what the other passengers thought.
Resuscitate.
Push me through. Push me through.
Push me.
Yeah.
Kept screaming, kill me. Finish me.
I was not going to do that.
I'm just not going to have this at all.
Sorry if I embarrassed you. I don't know that lady.
It was funny. Because I just remember, like, as the doors, when they finally opened back up and you walked out, as they were closing, you were like, I'll meet you upstairs. Just like, we cut you off. We don't know what you said. Is she okay? Is she hurt?
Well, Cody knows I like to sit near exits,
Yeah. There's the getaway.
whether it's an airplane or a train or a bus. I want to sit right near the exit.
Yeah.
I want to be the first one out. A bus? Oh, bus. Buses are awful.
Is it safe to imply that you ran up 64 flights of stairs?
Yeah, she beat us up there, actually. I'm not kidding.
Actually, I prefer stairs. That's one of my secrets to longevity.
I could not do that.
I do not get in elevators.
I don't trust stairs. They're always up to something.
Oh, Dylan.
That's all I got.
When Harry and I traveled around Europe, he'd carry the bags in the elevator. I said, I'm taking the stairs.
Well, you know, some elevators are actually pretty scary. You get into like an old elevator, like a really rickety hotel, and it starts making weird noises, like rattling. You cannot help but feel a little uneasy.
Our one of our first apartment buildings in Seattle, the elevator in the building broke down probably once a week with people inside.
Jeez.
Yeah,
That's nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
That
that's
is nerve-wracking.
terrible.
I just always think of that opening scene in Speed. I'm like,
Yeah.
where someone has a button, Dennis Hopper has a button somewhere, just like, I want my money by 11 a.m.
At a Motel 6 in Pasadena.
Three people in it. Yeah.
Or that right now the electricity is going to go out. Right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Right.
Well,
as
we
it-
just had a earthquake at the time of this recording. It was yesterday. It was a 7.1 up near Bakersfield, and where we're located, it's like maybe I don't know how far Bakersfield is.
Yeah, it
4 or
wasn't-
5 hours from here.
Yeah.
But it was enough to where we were shaking, and it was like, whoa, check this out. This is crazy. But
I was in the car at the time, dashing to the street fair, so I didn't feel it.
Oh yeah, I definitely felt that.
we were
one.
at the street fair when it happened. It was pretty weird. It was like,
Did everybody get quiet?
yeah, it was like it was so slow moving and kind of meandering earthquake that everyone just kind of felt weird. Like we didn't know what was going on.
Dizzy.
Yeah, and everyone just kind of stopped and started looking at each other like, "Are you shaking me? What's going on?"
You shaking me?
And then we saw the booths and stuff. All the vendors were swaying, and
Swaying.
the trees were swaying. It was like, oh, we're having an earthquake.
How long did it last?
It was actually it was maybe
That was a
30
longer one.
seconds
It
or
was
something
easy.
like that, or more.
Because by the time you usually feel an earthquake, it's over. In this case, you're like, oh, we're having an earthquake. And it's still going.
And we're going.
We're
Yeah.
walking back and forth.
Yeah.
All right.
No earthquakes in Seattle, right?
no, yeah, we're good.
But you have snowstorms.
What natural hazards do you have in Seattle? You don't have tornadoes, cyclones?
No, it's super hilly here, so no tornadoes. I mean, we have like I guess snowstorms, but they're nothing compared to, East Coast or anything like that. So we basically have nothing that can really harm us over here,
Yeah, just
as far as I'm
rain.
concerned.
Yeah, perpetual rain every day.
Yeah, but I mean, the city's like built for it, so it's not a huge deal. If it snows and if it's like freezing and the the road is icy, then that will cause issues like it would anywhere else. But other than that, it's pretty rare.
And mass murderers.
And murders, yeah. We have a lot of serial killers, which is a problem.
Your natural hazard is murder.
Right.
Humans are natural.
Yeah. That'll get you.
Yeah, I lived on the coast in Washington at Grays Harbor for a year.
Oh yeah,
And there was only 3 TV stations, and one was the weather report. Mm-hmm. And we had a annual lottery where we had to guess the number of inches of rain to the 100th decimal point.
Oh
right.
my gosh.
Wow, holy cow.
Whoa.
And it was like this year, the year I was there, it was like 100.25 inches of rain for that year.
Yikes.
Yeah, and Seattle is not even the rainiest city. It's I forget which the rainiest city is, but Seattle's like number 8 or like 6 or something in the nation.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, how many places have you lived? Because I know you've.
I was born in Los Angeles. Went to UCLA. Got married, went to the Valley, lived in the Valley.
All right.
Then moved to Washington State for a year. Then back to San Jose for, 6-7 years. And then my husband lost his job, so we came down to Ventura.
Yeah. And then you were here
Yeah.
for basically a long extended period of time.
Yeah,
then
we moved here in 70. I think it was 70.
And then you went to Washington, D.C., and you were there for about a year or two.
Right, when I married my second husband, then he worked in D.C., so we moved there for a year, and I rented out my house here.
Yeah.
That was a fun time.
That was an interesting time. I remember
You guys
that.
came back
Yeah, that one time we visited.
for a couple of days.
That was a very memorable trip, the Washington, D.C. one. I would have appreciated that trip a lot more had I been older, because there's so much history there. And as a young kid, you don't care about history that much because you're just like, who cares? I just want to run around and jump on things. Especially our younger brother Warren just jumped on everything. But if I could go back, I'd love to go look at all those monuments again and be like, wow, I can appreciate this so much more now.
I don't think I'd
that's
appreciate
what
it.
travel is. I mean,
Yeah.
travel is seeing the world at any age and then realizing you might want to go back there one day. That's what travel is. Meeting people.
So
As far as I know, Washington D.C. is still there, though. I think you can.
I can
That's
go
right.
back and check it out. I wish I could go back and check that out.
Even better than before.
Yeah.
It fell into the ocean.
Yeah, it's gone now.
It's in the middle of the Northern Atlantic.
I'll go visit Trump.
Right. So anyway, my secrets to old age.
Yes. What is the secret? Tell us.
Secrets.
The secret to longevity.
The secret to my longevity,
Yeah.
right? There are 3 answers.
Oh my God!
Hungry
he's,
man
ready
dinners.
to
Get
go.
your
prepared.
notepads, everyone.
I'm prepared. I studied today.
I'm gonna take notes.
I got out a book. No, I'm just.
First time.
Well, it depends. You see, there are people who say they have so many secrets they could never even divulge them. Okay, that's one. And then the other point of view, how did you get so old? Oh, I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day.
We all know that. Those
I drank a
people.
martini every night, before and after dinner.
That's definitely you. No.
No. The third point for my good age is luck of the draw.
Luck. So it's just luck.
Luck of the draw.
Because it's always a common debate when you get to a certain age. They say, "What's the secret to longevity?" A lot of people will say it's all genetics. Just because some people will smoke a pack a day or have the martini, because maybe that is just luck. So I think it's a combination of those two things.
It is. Genetics plays a really good role.
And what was the first one you said? It was.
There were so many secrets. I'll never divulge all of them. I have so many secrets to why I'm old.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to divulge any.
share. Gotcha. All right. Fair enough.
So
And then
the lesson is can't do anything about it.
No matter what you do,
That's right.
it's all luck of the draw.
Well, I think they do say that, like, if you, I mean, just for context here, our grandma that we actually do share, she passed away last year. She was 81, I think, when she passed. And it was just, she got sick and she kind of fell really quick. But when she lost her husband, it was, she still was sweet. She still cared about her family and everything like that. But I feel like that was kind of like, when he died, that was kind of the end of her life.
A shock.
That was like, I mean, she lost her other half. They've been married for over 60 years. So that's a tough thing to get over. And
happens
it was
a lot.
very hard to see her go through that. A lot of people would have given up. You lost your husband about 5 years ago now, and in the same circumstances that she was. And yet you've taken a whole different route where you have now said, I'm not giving up. I got the whole rest of my life ahead of me. And it's really interesting to me how I'm like, is that a personality thing? Is that
Well, I've been dealt this hand when I was born. I play my life like poker.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I've been dealt this hand.
I fold every time.
Pardon?
I fold. Cody folds every time he
fold
plays
every
poker.
time.
Yeah.
And so I play my cards as I see fit, as the opportunities and positive and negative events hit my life. I play my cards. This is what I have to play right now. That's all I have. but I've always kept an ace up my sleeve.
Oh,
You're cheating, is what you're doing.
You did it.
what is that ace?
Well, we're talking philosophically here.
Yeah. Not
Using
literally.
this as an example. So when Harry died, I didn't have any choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be miserable the rest of my life. That's not my choice.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. I have no control over it,
Right.
like old age.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to go back to having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
With or without. I mean, he was the love of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt if anybody in this room will ever experience the type of love I had with him.
We'll
a special
see about
dude.
that.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I mean, it was just.
How are we going to measure this?
I married him at 50, so, and he was 50. Okay, so we've had some experience.
Yeah.
That's what I did
We'd
wrong.
been hurt.
I remember that when Cody and I were kids, we'd go stay at your house, and you used to pet sit for a lot of different animals in the community, and there was always one cat that was always there, because every time we'd go, it'd always be a different group of pets there. Like, oh, what's this one? What's this one? But there was always one pet that was always there no matter what. It was Squeaks. It's this orange, big old cat. And we're like, oh, Squeaks is here. And then we didn't put it together that was Harry's cat.
That cat actually belonged
Yeah,
there.
actually it belonged to Harry. So I think Harry was playing the long game with our grandma. He essentially was like, you're going to watch this cat for like years.
9 years I watched that cat.
9 years.
And I remember it used to rake that cat.
Rake.
It used to rake its
That
back.
sounds like a horrible thing that happened in the South. You've been raked today?
That's how you would scratch it. You would just take a rake on its back.
Well, whatever the cat liked, I did. Well, I met Harry at my Halloween party. I threw a Halloween party after I divorced.
Another
my
party.
first husband.
As a nudist party?
Yeah.
I had at my new house. I threw this Halloween party, and so my girlfriends brought Harry. Harry was their kind of tag-along friend for years. They knew each other since grammar school. Anyway, that's how we met. I didn't know. I don't remember him even being there, but he remembered me.
Oh, okay.
So he asked a little while later if he could leave his cat because he worked at the base. And he had to go to D.C. For 6 months there, 6 months here. Could you watch my cat while I go to D.C.?
Oh,
He'd
okay.
come into town ever so often and take me to lunch and pet the cat. How's the cat? We always had a great time for 9 years.
Harry worked for the Pentagon when you guys were in D.C.,
Yeah,
right?
he worked at the Pentagon.
Yeah, I just remember like there'd be times Cody and I would like want to ask him questions, and he'd always kind of brush him off like it's not as secretive as it was, you know. And I'd be like, "What about Area 51?" And he'd grab me by the collar and said, "You son of a."
He didn't share much.
Don't you ever speak of that.
Right. You know, the old proverbial, if I tell you, I'd have to kill you.
Yeah.
No.
No, there was a few times where we'd ask him questions and he'd deduce it down to it's not what you think it is. It's just very simple.
It's a bunch of filing cabinets with papers.
Yeah, it's not like in the movies where there's like all these. It's not like
Aliens.
Russell Crowe's in there trying to break code.
It's just a glorified file clerk.
He's just a pushover in the office. Just, sorry, I'll file it correctly.
Well, actually, you know, that's
Pencil
how
pusher.
I asked him to marry me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You told me you
That's
asked
right.
him.
That's right. Talk
Assertive
about
woman. I
brave.
like this.
After 9 years,
Eventually, it's got to happen at some point. And you asked him in code, right?
I did.
Yeah, and he
On
figured
his Pentagon email.
Wow.
she sent an email to the Pentagon and saying, "Someone please marry me."
This is the best podcast we've ever done.
You sent an email to the Pentagon
That's right.
in code
That's right.
to ask. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
What was the code? I have to know.
Well, he had stopped by for dinner on his way back east. I said, why don't you come, bring the cat, and I'll treat you to dinner.
Okay.
So we had dinner, and it was after dessert that we looked at each other after 9 years, and I said, I think I love you. You know, it's like Cupid hit and hit him at the same time. And we just sat there kind of gazing at each other. Yeah, I love you too. So he left, and then a week or two later, he said, "Can you come back to D.C. for a weekend?" Okay, sure. I'll have to find someone to watch the cat.
Squeaks.
I went. It worked out fine. So then he called a month or two later. "Can you come back for a week?" Okay. That went fine too. So after a few of those events, then, wow, I love this guy. And every time I'm together with him, it's wonderful. Laughter, play.
Yeah.
So we started communicating by email on the Pentagon email. And I thought I'd try something. I took the first letters of "Will you marry me?" WYMM, and I shifted it over on the keyboard. It was like ZVW whatever,
Right.
with a big question mark on the Pentagon email.
Oh my gosh.
What if a country got nuked because of that?
This lady's trying to kill us.
These are the launch codes.
Nobody could figure that out. You know,
The president at the time is just like, "Oh my God, it's happening.
It's that time, Nixon.
It's that time."
I just said some really
Yes,
heavy
wasn't that
duty
long ago.
secret code.
This is like late 90s.
Who was the president? So Clinton.
It was Clinton. It was Clinton, yeah.
Blew NASA out of the water. That's,
Some
or
crazy
NSA,
virus that just
National-
like releases all of Area 51 secrets.
It's just Resident Evil. Just umbrella.
Yeah, zombies happen.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So I waited, I waited and I waited for an answer, and I thought, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah, say no.
What have I done? And then it was within 24 hours, I got a big resounding yes.
Oh
So he
man.
figured it out.
Yeah.
Smart dude.
I think you said like he probably figured it out because he was a busy dude. I'm assuming he probably had a minute to think about it because he probably just didn't respond like immediately. We said he probably cracked that in like 5 minutes.
That's right.
And then he sat on it for a day.
Well, Harry loved intrigue.
He was a very interesting guy. I know this is not hyperbole at all. Smartest guy I ever met. Like, smartest dude I've ever met. And
Dylan-
second
Luke's in here.
Second to Lucas Danner. Lucas Danner's smartest man I ever met. Harry Norton, second smartest man I ever met.
Right. He
but
was
yeah.
smart.
Interesting guy.
He
very
was
much so.
smart. I'm sorry we lost him. He
Yeah.
contributed so much to your lives
Yeah.
and my life.
Really is, yeah.
Everybody he met. But
Yeah. Such is life.
that's such his
right?
life, you know?
We got to keep moving along. And
So-
again, like when tragedy hits in certain circumstances, it's, I see this happen. I've seen it happen a few times to people where they just say, yeah, I'm just kind of giving up. But I've never seen that from you where you keep chugging along. And not only that, you keep chugging along in ways where I'm like, I don't know. Like, for an example, we went to a concert about 2 years ago now. Our younger brother Warren bought us tickets to go see this concert at the Kodak Theater in the downtown heart of Hollywood. Downturn. And you said, all right, yeah, I'll meet you guys here at this house and we'll drive down together. And you showed up and your hair was dyed bright pink.
I remember that.
2 years ago. And we're like, what? You're like, I don't care.
Why not?
I'll just do it.
Who cares? I don't have any critics.
Yeah. Well, you always tell me in this age, you're like, I don't care anymore. Like, who cares?
Who care? Who really does care?
But when did that kick in? Like, what,
Yeah.
I think
feel
Cody
like
cared. He started a blog.
yeah, Cody cares. He blogs.
I haven't
all the time.
blogged so much. You should have seen this pink hair.
I feel like the overall lesson here is like it takes way more time than it should to realize that nothing in life is as important as you think it is.
Yeah, probably.
You know,
It's a fleeting thing,
right?
very much
you just
so.
like
So
have
you're
fun and that's it.
taking life to its fullest.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we were just talking before we jumped on. We have so many classic stories because you have a hearing aid, and so you always tend to misinterpret what we say. And, sometimes when we either speak softly or you don't hear us. And the most classic one was when we were little kids. Cody said, or you asked us what we wanted to have for dinner, and Cody said he wanted Topper's Pizza. And you looked at him and you said, "You want to go to a topless beach?"
Right. I was shocked.
Why would you be shocked?
I didn't think you were old enough.
I was 11.
Cody was a veteran of topless beaches.
Connoisseur.
A connoisseur. He knew all the best ones.
And then you proceeded to tell us that you had actually been to quite a few nudist colonies. And I said, you have to explain this.
I don't think your mother was there. Otherwise, we wouldn't have discussed it.
Oh, didn't you bring her to one?
Pardon?
You brought her to one time, didn't you?
No, I did
I
not.
thought you did.
We might have driven by.
That's a nudist colony.
They didn't have any parking at the time.
No, right.
You were gonna go, but parking wasn't free.
It was $5 a
I
part.
had to pay for it.
$5, forget this.
I ain't paying for this. No way.
We're going back to
I'm
Ventura.
out of here. In fact, Harry and I were talking before he died about going on a nudist cruise. I don't even know if they have them.
You just invented something.
You're going to invent one.
Create one. Give me a phone.
You were on the verge of starting the first nudist cruise.
Yes.
Oh, man. Just,
Well, I'm an entrepreneur.
well,
When you got an idea,
you should
got to run.
continue to pursue.
I love to start businesses.
I feel like that's a winning idea right there.
Yeah,
That's a
just
winning
plastic
idea.
on all the furniture.
I believe that's Disney cruises.
You think I should do it, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just invest in plastic first, and then start your cruise business.
Well, I got to find the boat first. And the pilot or whoever. The captain.
Yeah.
So wait, who suggested, like, let's go to a nudist colony? Was it just Harry came into the room and said...
Oh,
"Yeah,
Harry
let's
was a member.
The more I keep finding out, the more I'm intrigued by this. So why was he a member? He was just like, you know what? I'm going to go to a place where there's a
Well,
bunch
I
of
told you before, he had a membership card to the one on Topanga Canyon, and it was all frayed. Well used. When he married me.
Tons of stamps.
It was like a passport with stamps in it.
Every time you've gone in.
Staples,
It was
extra.
stamped 10 times, and the 11th one is free.
11th one is free.
Holes punched in it.
Comes with a smoothie.
It comes with a smoothie.
No, so you went to the one on Topanga Canyon, and it's just, is it exactly what we all imagine a nudist colony is? Just a bunch of naked people hanging out?
That's right.
That's all it is?
Staring at each other in amazement.
Just everybody staring at each other. Can you believe we're doing this?
Can you believe this right now?
I don't know whether they're in shock or they're impressed or...
Do you ever accidentally bump into someone? Does it get crowded?
Oh, no, you keep your distance. Some of them come together in the evening around the fireplace. And
That
then
sounds
they
dangerous.
have to cuddle on.
Yeah, it sounds like a really dangerous naked around a fire.
It burns away the odor.
They have pillows and cushions, and you can just,
doesn't
chat
sound-
around the fireplace.
It doesn't sound sanitary. There's cushions.
You're not worried about sanitation.
Oh, man.
It's so embarrassing. Like, what the heck am I doing here?
How long were you there for? On
On any one event?
any one event.
Oh, I don't know, a couple hours.
Okay.
So they just go around serving drinks, like the waiters come around?
No, there was no alcohol.
Oh, no. Oh, I
On
guess
any
it's probably
of
on the,
them
it's
that
probably
I
on the
can
safe
remember.
side.
Yeah, it's probably better.
It's actually
Yeah.
probably for the best.
Yeah.
And how many of these did you go to? Was it like a
Oh,
dozen?
half a dozen. It got to be old hat after a while.
Yeah. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Yeah. All right. Let's.
Are there better nudist colonies than others?
Yeah. Well, they're different from the West Coast to the East Coast.
You went to ones on the East Coast?
Yes.
You just all countrywide. You
Well,
went
I
to
mean,
nudist
there a
colonies.
whole year.
It's a road
You got to
trip.
grab the opportunity.
Seize the moment. All right. Got it.
Seize the day.
It's a national membership.
They
Couldn't
don't
make it
require-
across the country without going to one.
That's right. They're all over the place. Well, we had the encyclopedia of nudist colonies.
You bought the book?
It's a catalog.
You subscribed to Nudist Colony magazine?
No. Well, there wasn't any magazine, but there was a catalog.
Oh, okay.
It
Okay.
came out once a year.
It's called Playboy.
Yeah.
They'd
Is
come
it
and
like
go.
is it like a Yelp type type thing? Like this one's 5 stars.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it's like.
Wow.
I recently threw it out because he died, of course, but I threw it out. I didn't want you kids finding it
Be like, what's old grandma up to these days?
after I died.
In the catalog, instead of selling clothes, does it just sell like sunscreen?
There were no ads. It was like a directory.
Here's where you could find naked people.
Yeah, I don't recall any ads. Somebody produced that thing from their own money.
Wow.
Someone invested in
Maybe
that
they
thing.
got a cut of each colony's entry fee.
Maybe.
Did you ever look at someone and kind of have to struggle to keep from laughing?
The answer is yes.
I guess, yeah, we'll take that as a yes.
Well, in the first the first one I went to, I hid in the pool and covered myself with all the floaters.
Yeah.
I was in there laughing so hard. Harry was looking at me like, what?
What are you doing here?
I'm hiding.
Yeah.
Can't you
man.
see?
You've definitely had a more interesting life than we've had.
Well, I'm also like
Yeah.
4 times older.
Yeah, this is also true, but
Your time will come.
I guess so.
The Nudist Colony's coming, Dylan.
My Nudist Colony experiences are
The
on the
directory
horizon.
comes out once a year.
Yeah. It comes out once a year.
Yeah, updated.
You're gonna get one in the mail.
You want to be on their mailing list?
I don't know if I'd want to see. I mean, we have the internet now, so if
Well, I mean, I would probably have never done it if Harry hadn't suggested.
I'll blame it on him. I bet you it was all
no,
your idea.
No blame, no blame. I went voluntarily.
Yeah.
I'm not in the habit of blaming anybody for anything.
Oh, there you go. See, that's the attitude.
No, nobody's fault.
So when you look back on your life, what would be like a life lesson that you could say, like, now that you've had 80 years to look back on?
Don't keep repeating that.
It's 80 years, everybody.
We'll bleep it out.
You're going to make me depressed. So
No,
run that by me again without
when you
the
reflect
80.
back on your time here, I mean, because you obviously have been around a while, you've seen a lot of things, nudist colonies and a whole bunch of other stuff. What would be something that if you could tell anybody, I mean, even us to our age or younger, what would be like a life lesson that you'd be like, this is my one piece of advice I could give you about, living and to be the happiest person you could be, you should do this, or fill in the blank.
Say life is humorous. Life is really funny.
Mm-hmm.
We all take it much too seriously.
Interesting.
There's these philosophers like this Peterson fellow I've been reading on. He says life is a struggle. Mm-hmm. It is so difficult. It is a struggle. On the other hand, I read someone like Stuart Wilde, who says life was not meant to be a struggle. And I live my life according to Stuart Wilde. I read his books, and he has 4 laws of immutable laws of detachment. Mm-hmm. Detach yourself from things. Stay centered. One is whoever shows up is the perfect group. Number 2, whatever time it gets started, isn't that stressless?
Right.
3rd, whatever gets accomplished is indeed what should be accomplished. And 4th, when it's over, it's over. Mm-hmm. And I use that for Harry. It's over, it's over. Mm-hmm. Those are a form of detachment. You're not so involved in something that you're stressed out. It's not starting on time, or he didn't show up on time, or, we got to cover all this nonsense. Mm-hmm. It's so much more relaxing to detach yourself. So life isn't a struggle. It isn't. It's so wonderful if you just enjoy it and go with the flow. Mm-hmm. I've read this book called Flow. It's called by Syngenta Mahaley. Mm-hmm. But it's called In the Flow. And that's where my creativity comes forth. You know, you just be in the moment. Like, I don't want to be anywhere else in the world than right here, right now with you guys. There's no place else. This is perfect. It's so blessed. Blessed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It almost seems like, I mean, to oversimplify it, it almost sounds, it's just let things be the way that they are. Don't try and force anything into a certain way. I mean,
that's the Buddhist way. What is.
Depends on what your definition of the word is.
Oh, we're gonna pull a Nixon or a Clinton?
That was a Clinton joke. You gonna pull a Nixon on me? No, I was
No,
kidding.
a
I'm kidding.
Oh no, whoever that
It was
was.
Clinton.
Yeah. I love to discuss politics too and religion, but people get so emotional about that. They're so attached to their beliefs that. Fine, you've made a habit of not discussing those things.
Well, usually, I think the reason we don't talk religion and politics mostly is just because they are very passionate subjects that things can get really heated really quickly. And second of all, I think people are already kind of confined in their ways. I highly doubt that conversation is going to happen and someone's going to go, you know what, you're right, I've changed my mind. I think everyone's going to just stick to their same opinions for the most part. I mean, we might go away thinking of it differently, but we're going to stick very firmly to our positions on these things.
It doesn't necessarily have to happen.
No, yeah. I mean, it's always good just to have a friendly debate
To be
about those
human
things.
is to be flexible.
Sure. I agree. I
To
absolutely
be
agree.
open to new ideas and new beliefs, new ways of looking at things. I mean, I manned a Republican booth
Oh, yeah, you told me this.
a
That.
couple of weeks ago. I said the word.
Uh-oh. You're going to be hated by so many
This
people.
was a
now.
volunteer. Didn't get paid.
Yeah.
And next to us was the Democratic booth. I was in red. Trump is standing behind me.
Not literally, but, you know, the cardboard cutout.
People were so angry.
What'd you do?
I didn't do a thing. So a little while, I went over to the Democratic booth.
Cross.
Split your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know what I stand for as a Republican. I have it memorized, you know. I know this.
Okay.
That's why I'm a Republican. But I'm open. What does it mean to be a Democrat? So I walked over to the booth. They're dressed in blue.
And did the fabric of the universe just unravel in front of you? Yeah. So they saw you walk over. Oh my God! Oh no! Don't do it!
That was their reaction. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, I was all hunched over, and I'm tall, so I didn't want to intimidate anybody. And I went over there, and hi. I really was. I was serious. What does it mean to be a Democrat? I would really be curious. I mean, I'm not fixed.
Yeah.
This is, okay, show me something else.
Yeah.
And they stood up.
Straight out of their chairs.
How dare you?
Now they were taller than I was, you know, and man, they attacked me.
Wow.
I said, all I asked was, what do the Democrats stand for? What are your beliefs? Give me some platforms. I was very calm. And they just gave me a bunch of loud, angry gibberish. Finally, the youngest woman in the group, she stayed seated, and she finally said a word that she thought about, and that was peace. I said, yeah, I like that. Is that what the Democratic Party said? Okay. That's worth thinking about.
All right. We're getting somewhere.
You're like, stick with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they changed personnel that morning. And so that afternoon, I went back over to the new personnel at the Democratic booth. They stood up to, we heard about you.
They're like, be careful of that woman right there.
We attack at dawn.
I didn't even have a chance.
Wow.
Okay.
So
All right.
didn't you say that you left and there was a guy that was still talking to you as you were trying to like leave or something like that?
That's right. We were closing up shop, right, at the end of the day. And I went over to talk to this guy and helped him, the Democrat, to help him with his booth, because I had help at my booth. I was helping him. And we got on really friendly, nice, congenial terms without the politics. Well, why didn't you keep that in our prior conversation?
Yeah. Why was there a switch that was
Just
flipped?
instant.
Like, oh, now we got to fight. It's like, oh, no, we don't. We don't have to fight.
Well, I'm reading The Righteous Mind, which deals with that. I think I mentioned it to Cody, that our minds want to be right. We'll defend that to death. We want to be right. And so when someone attacks us by raising their voice, that sets into a different mode altogether. And we start to get defensive. It's kind of like a natural, and so you lose the whole conversation.
It's such a bummer. Yeah, because anytime anybody starts yelling, then it becomes a, well, now where are we going to get it? What's this going to do?
I know some of my friends made me so upset with their anger. One time I came home and wrote a check to the other party. That was my retaliation.
That is incredible.
I felt good.
Oh, man.
I've had a great time.
That is fantastic. More people should
That'll,
do that.
that'll show them.
Tell them to mess with me.
Oh, yeah, I've donated.
I don't have to argue with them at all.
Got that settled.
So you have to work yourself into these nice, calm.
Yeah.
And you probably get. I mean, I every time I go to your house, your house is literally like an art gala. Like, no exaggeration, it is an art gala. There is so many different art pieces there, and I've tried to explain it to people. I go, you just have to see it. It's literally just it's not like any other home you've ever been to. But you're always working on dozens of projects at once because you are a artist to the T. You're always working on something new and inventive, and actually kind of surrounded by your art pieces around here a little bit. They're kind of out of frame, but I'm assuming you do a lot of that to keep yourself
Sane.
Yeah. It's kind of like your meditation, if you will.
Well, I
You're
told
just
you I'm an OCCAB.
What is that?
Obsessive compulsive, cussing, angry.
Fair enough.
See, we could laugh at that.
Yes,
you know?
that's fair. It's totally
You
fair.
can call me any name in the book, and I'm going to laugh. I've been called everything.
Oh. Do you do any artwork for people? Like, if they paid you, would you?
No, I don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that at all.
I don't want to answer to you.
I do my own thing.
I'll do my own thing. Either you like it or you don't.
No. But you still sell your art, though.
Oh, yes.
So where would people go if they wanted to buy your art?
To my home.
Okay. I don't know if you want to give out your address, though.
No, galleries, they get 35% of your sale. Mm-hmm. And I'm not that good anyway. I'm not going to. You got to load all the stuff down, load it all back.
But you've done many shows before.
How many shows?
You've done a lot of shows, though.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
In fact, Carrie was taking one of my paintings down to a show on the top of the car. It had 5 pieces called a polyptych. Mm-hmm. He made it himself. He used to make my canvases. There were 5 pieces. A single image, but 5 separate pieces. And he loaded it on the top of this car and drove down Highway 33 toward Camarillo. He called me about 15 minutes out. He said, I just lost one of your pieces.
Whoops. Sorry.
I said, well, turn around, come back home, it's fine. So I went out the next day along Highway 33 looking for that thing. and I would park at the off-ramp, and then I'd walk back to the last off-ramp.
Wow, on the freeway.
On the freeway, on 33. Nothing there, so then I'd pull up to the next off-ramp, and I'd cover that by foot. Pretty soon, there's a police car.
Yeah, here you go. Lights.
What are you doing?
Listen, lady.
I hear him coming, the leather is rubbing.
Are you sure that was a police officer?
He looks at
Ball
me.
gag.
Lady, what are you doing here? This is, you can't be out here. You can't be here. I said, well, I drive it every day. What do you mean I can't be here?
Who made these rules?
I showed him. He's like, you know what? You're right.
You're right.
If you've been here before, it's okay to rock here.
He doesn't say anything. He just unholsters his gun. Yeah. Slowly.
He's like, oh, you have driven here. Okay. All right. Fine.
Oh man.
I'm sorry to dominate the conversation. Life is so fun.
Dominating the
But
government.
did you find the piece, though?
Pardon?
Did you find the piece?
Well, actually, he said, you can't be doing this. No walk on the freeway.
In the middle of the freeway.
Well, I lost part of my painting. And he said, well, why don't you call Caltrans?
That's it. All right.
So I did. You go to Caltrans homepage. There's a button on there that says, press this if you've lost anything on the freeway.
We'll get it for you in 6 months.
Actually, they found it.
Really?
Really?
That's
They found
impressive.
it. I got a call. Did you lose this blue painting that's kind of shaped like a triangle?
Triangle.
Brand new, not a scratch on it.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Oh,
I am impressed.
lucky you.
Golly gee.
It's the only thing they've done right.
Because my art teacher at the Times, he said, oh, you lost it. Well, just tell your audience it was part of the municipal gallery.
No, okay.
Municipal meaning part of the county somewhere.
Right. So where would people go if they wanted, do you want people to find a place where they can buy your art that we don't have to send it to your address? People listening, watching, do you want them to purchase some of your items if possible? Or do you not want to sell anything?
Well, I eliminated the website. Harry used to maintain that for me, but I don't do HTML or C++.
I don't do that, huh?
So
Do you do WordPress?
pardon?
Do you do WordPress?
I probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah, WordPress.
No,
isn't
no need to know HTML anymore.
it? Yeah.
I never sold a piece off of that dang website.
That garbage website.
So I'm not going to bother at 80.
Okay. I stand corrected.
Fair enough.
Either they come to my house, even servicemen, handymen, friends, they see something they like.
Well, we can definitely showcase some of your art here on the podcast, and
I'd
if
be
you're watching on
happy
YouTube, so we can showcase it there. So if anybody out there who is watching or listening, if you're interested, we can put you in contact to maybe buy some of her art pieces. She's very good, very great artist, but I think we are out of time for this episode. So
Oh, my goodness.
thank you, Grandma, for showing up, and we will
my
definitely
pleasure.
have you on again. This was a lot of fun, and yeah, again, we had a lot of people requesting to have you on, so I think we owe it to ourselves to have you on again.
There are more stories.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there are. I mean, to get more of these things.
No,
on
that
here.
was all the stories.
Yeah,
That was the
every
whole-
single
was
one.
it.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, if anybody out there is watching or listening, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are listening on SoundCloud and iTunes, please follow us there, or check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we will see you guys next week. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.